It's food o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. After the massive success, which was Gavin and Stacey, it had to happen. It had to happen. Cadbury's brought out a Dairy Milk Barry Island edition. We're going to be reviewing this in a moment. It's 110 grams of chocolate. But first of all, I want to tell you, this is not the first product to come off the back of Gavin and Stacey. I was involved with the first one. It was a beer. It was called Barry Island IPA. It still is called Barry Island IPA, but it's a little bit different from what they brew today. The new version's 5% ABV, and they took my name off the label without even asking me, brains, but never mind. Here's the original label. Here's the original bottle of hand bottle version of Barry Island IPA from 2012, 330 milliliter bottle. Can you see my little name there underneath? Collaborated with Simon Martin. There we go. It's an American IPA, 6% ABV as well. And there's a little Stone the Crows with me with my camcorder, which is my saying. So lots of success. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about Barry Island. Is it really like the television programme? Are they really like that round here? Well, you've been watching me for years, so without further ado, it's just a sleeve really. It's a bar of dairy milk with a Barry Island sleeve on it. Unbelievably, it was £5.99. You can buy a bar of this. I was around my local shop just now and there was a big bar of this, a bigger bar of this, with Oreo in it for £1. So £5.99, but I had to have it. It's from my hometown. Or it's been based on my hometown, where I've lived all my life. And it gives me a chance to review dairy milk as well, which I don't think I've had a dairy milk bar for years. Little pieces of chocolate. Now I remember when Cadbury's, the big company that was it Kraft that bought Cadbury's, they promised that dairy milk will always be produced at the Bourneville factory, the original factory. All of the original dairy milk. So cleverly, all the Oreo dairy milks, all of the crispy piece or anything that's not the original dairy milk is not produced in the Bourneville site in the UK. So I'd like to think it's still made under license from Cadbury. Well, it is nice, mind. Fair play. You can't see where it was made. It didn't say anymore. It should have been. They promised us here in the UK that the original bar would always be made in the Bourneville factory. So quick review, milk chocolate. Creamy, milky, chocolatey. Quite lovely actually. A nice treat. My mother-in-law always insists that to get through the long days of winter, just have a bite of chocolate every day. That's her little motto to get through the long, cold, dark days of winter. I normally grab a beer. Right, Barry Island. Where do I start with this town of Barry Island? My first ever job was over Barry Island. I was a deck chair attendant in 1995. I was 15 years of age. I was underage, but I put on the application form for the Vale of Glamorgan Council that I was 16, and they gave me the job anyway. I was 16 in a few weeks, but I went there as a 15-year-old as a deck chair attendant. The town has been through so many peaks and troughs since I was born here. So through my lifetime, I went through the difficult times living in Barry. The docks, the Barry docks, which employed a lot of people, had well and truly closed down. While I was a kid, the last major company, which was Geese Bananas, moved out of Barry. They reckon they had to buy bigger vessels to import the bananas, and the gates to Barry docks were too narrow for their new big boats, so they had to leave Barry docks. That was the last big company to leave Barry docks. It was a boom town, and it was supposed to be, because we live only 7 to 8 miles away from Cardiff. It was a boom town that was meant to be a more kind of posher version of Cardiff. Hence the number of empty hotels now in this town is insane, and a lot of them were actually knocked down and just turned into parks or other buildings. But yeah, so I went through the town over the docks where everything, all the warehouses were boarded up, and we used to play football in the old warehouses of Barry docks. Not a lot going on, high unemployment. Then we had this waterfront regeneration scheme, a bit like Hull, a bit like a lot of the other, a bit like Penarth or Cardiff. A lot of these kind of old dockland places, they tend to call them waterfronts these days, and they build a massive estate on them and put an Asda or a KFC, or they tidy the place up basically. And our dock is just the Far dock. There's 2 docks in Barry, number 1 dock, number 2 dock. The Far dock, which I believe is the number 1 dock, that's about to be finished. Pardon me. In terms of the development, number 2 dock, where I live down this end of the town, is still broken industry. There's still businesses just hanging on for dear life over there, you know. But then we had this kind of, that waterfront development lifted things off a bit. Morrison's came, Asda's came, we've got restaurants now and bars, and all of a sudden we had kind of like meat houses, what are they called over there? The Pump House. They feature quite a bit on television. The meat place, where they barbecue the meat like all day. I can't think of the blooming name for the place. Really nice, really tasty. And then of course Gavin and Stacey. Gavin and Stacey done an awful lot for this town. A really awful lot for this town. I went over after that Christmas special 2020, Christmas 2020, 2019, 2020 should I say. After that Christmas special, I walked the dog over Barry Island. The resort of Barry Island now, not the docks. So the problem with Barry, very quickly before I go into this story about walking the dog, I'll finish that actually. Yeah, I walked the dog and it was packed. There was like an hour's queue in January, on the weekend, an hour's queue for chips over Barry Island and ice creams, and you couldn't move over there. Traffic jams to get over there, traffic jams to get off it. The island, it was an island, it's not an island anymore. The docks stopped it from being an island. It was, now it's all developed on, so it's just a massive jettied piece of land. So it's very popular with day trippers, very popular with tourists, off the back of Gavin and Stacey. And where was I going before I wanted to talk about walking the dog? I was going to go in another direction. Can't quite remember. I suppose I could talk about the island then. So yeah, Barry Island. Lots. I used to go over when I was a kid on the donkeys. They used to have donkey rides over the beach and that sort of thing. Big fun fair, massive fun fair. Then we had the reign of KR, Kenny Rogers. He used to have the, does anybody remember Hyper Value? Hyper Value. That was a Barry chain that went all over the kind of the south and southeast of Wales and England until they went bust. He actually owned the fun fair. What else can I say about Barry? That's it. Are we like the characters? I suppose that's what you all want to know. Are we like the Nessas and the Staceys and, well, Gavin's from Essex and Smithy's from Essex. Of course, it's over. It's over dramatic. It's not quite like that. You've seen me eating crazy chili burgers and making a mess of my face and whatnot. It's just how we are, I suppose. It's probably a cross between Stacey and Nessa. If I walk through Barry Town Centre, there's plenty of Nessas, but them Nessas are on heroin. So they're really kind of like in a bad way. And then you have your Staceys of the world, which are lovely people, but they're a bit soft in the edge. You know, they'll spend all day talking about EastEnders, Coronation Street, that sort of bit soft, bit Stacey like, you know. Watch the news, you know, watching the news on a daily basis, 6 o'clock news or the 10 o'clock news, and you know that sort of person, if you like. And then so that's the people. I suppose Bryn. A lot of people call me Uncle Bryn. I suppose you might want to call. I don't mind. Call me what you like. I suppose it's a little bit like that round here. I was going to talk about the pub, the Dolphin. So some of the filming makes us Barry people laugh, because the Essex boys, I hope I don't spoil it for you now, where they live in Essex is actually filmed in the next town over in Dinas Powys. It's 2 miles away from Barry, but it's quite a nice posh estate. So they've got him driving down the motorway, but it's not really happening. It's not filmed in Essex, it's filmed in Dinas Powys. So that's Gavin's house. The Dolphin pub. The Dolphin pub's a funny one because it's my end of town. It's literally a 10-minute walk for me. The Dolphin pub was called, when I was growing up, the Bassett. And that was a rough old pub, the Bassett. You wouldn't want to look at anybody the wrong way in the Bassett when I was growing up. You'd have your eyes gouged out. Just one of those kind of dock kind of pubs, if you like. Proper, gone through hard times. The people who survived were hard as nails type of thing. You had to be to live kind of this end of town. So the Dolphin pub's about 3 miles away from Barry Island. So when they're in the pub on the Christmas special and she's going, meet me over the island, Gavin. It's not like a 2-minute walk. It's like an hour's walk to get from where the Dolphins film, which is the Bassett. It's now the Tadros Hotel. It's a hotel now for, the bar's still there, but it's a hotel for the Dow Corning workers who work on the silicone factory that we have here. So that, what about the other places that they film? Stacey's house. I've thought about doing some videos down there, like doing a beer review outside her house or outside Bryn's house. How would you feel about that? That would be quite fun. Comments in the comments box about that one. And the other one was Marco's, the little coffee place where Stacey worked. Marco's. The little coffee place, yeah. I thought about doing some filming over there. There's some nice fish and chip shops there, but you got to catch it without being too busy. So that's my kind of, I don't know if I've said enough about Barry. If you want to hear a bit more, I could do a part 2. Let me know if you want me to do some filming around the town, some of the kind of scenes. I could go in the Dolphin and have a pint. I'd have to go in the right time of day to do that with my camera, or it'll get stolen from me. Cadbury's Barry Island chocolate bar. It's a dairy milk. It's a 6 out of 10 chocolate bar. Thank you. I think a lot of you have been kind of wanting this little story from me for a long time. I've always distanced myself from Gavin and Stacey. I've always been a little bit embarrassed by it, to be honest. I don't know why. It's just, yeah. But I've embraced it today. The beer, the chocolate. Well done, Barry Island. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. Please comment, please subscribe. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom. Cheers.